coming out. So.
Okay, well, you
It's
can
warm
see
in this room.
it's not pleasantly warm by us because I'm wearing a coat for the first time today. So officially our winter is treading tracks into South Africa.
Winter has arrived.
It has arrived. So I know my brother would laugh at me and say, oh, how mild is it? But for us South Africans, coats up, then we know. Boots out, coats on. So thank you so much to you, Jim, for joining me today on this Friendly Friday, where like-minded people come together and we like to share and share like. So it's awesome having you, Jim Meldrum from New Strategy Development. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about LinkedIn and how it can help you grow your business. So before we carry on, let me just do a rather longer intro for Jim, but I think it deserves one. So I'll just quickly go through a short bio. So Jim is a highly experienced sales and marketing director specializing in supporting business owners, entrepreneurs, and company directors in improving their growth strategy to achieve higher, more predictable results. He has spent many years working with FTSE 100 and Fortune 500 businesses, learning the skills necessary to consistently exceed targets on profitability, sales volumes, business growth, market penetration, brand awareness, developing deep understanding of what's needed to grow and maintain successful businesses in a highly competitive space in a number of different industries. He currently delivers one-on-one coaching sessions and group training workshops across the globe, including North America, South Africa, Middle East, Australia, mainland Europe, representative of Ireland, and across the UK. And just by the way, currently is joining us from Scotland. But I think the accent might have given that away. Jim?
Very possibly.
His perfect clients are usually ambitious entrepreneurs, business owners, and company directors who'd like better sales results, improved profitability, and increased market penetration. Or they are just keen to expand their reach with entry into new markets and would welcome the help of a highly skilled non-executive director. That's Jim. Thank you, Jim. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm honored to be here. Thank you very much.
Absolute pleasure. And I know Fridays are not always a good day. As much as us entrepreneurs try and wind down on Fridays, it's sometimes quite the contrary, and we're trying to get the last things done before the weekend. So the LinkedIn specialist, as I've come to know as one of his expertise, Jim, tell us a little bit about New Strategy, though, and how this was all created, and what inspired you.
Okay. Well, as your introduction, a lovely introduction, by the way. Thank you very much. I worked for many years in the corporate business world, the likes of Barclays Bank, General Electric, HSBC, and the likes. And I started off in sales and business development. I then moved into training. So I trained people on how to sell and how to grow their own divisions, their own sales divisions. And then I became what people would probably call a troubleshooter. I was sent in to take charge of divisions or departments that were underperforming, that were probably even under the threat of closure. And that's how I developed a very useful set of skills that can be used just about anywhere. New Strategy was created when I wanted to take those experiences and help smaller, medium-sized businesses to compete in the highly competitive markets that you already mentioned. I believe that every business needs to grow. If it's not growing, it's dying, or it's already dead, but the boss hasn't quite realized that yet. Now, sometimes that lack of growth can just be down to something as simple as the business owner is so much in the day-to-day running of the business that they don't have time to lift their head, strategize, plan what is the next level going to look like. And that's where I come in. These people are spending 50, 60, 70 hours sometimes in their own business. So it's good to outsource some of the more painful things that have to be done to continue to help the business grow and continue to grow. I've obviously been in sales and marketing in far more years than I care to admit. And I've led the turnaround of some of those major organizations by developing and implementing growth strategies that succeed, not just in the short term. So it's not just short-term success I look for, it's a long-term success. And that's what new strategy is all about.
Awesome. And I think very much, yeah, you mentioned, you know, with business owners working 70 hours a week in their business, just having that fresh perspective, you know, that you can bring to them.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, so now talking a little bit more about LinkedIn, as that's how I've come to know you, as one of the arms of your business. What is all this fuss about LinkedIn and why? Yeah, it's just interesting as we've networked with the world, how LinkedIn all of a sudden seems to be the kind of the thing.
Yeah, well, it's a great question. First off, I am not a LinkedIn trainer, or certainly I wasn't a year ago. I'm better known for sales training, sales management training, leadership development programs, and that is what my training business, my training and development business is all about. But I was simply using the platform so successfully and built my business from LinkedIn that other people asked me to help them. So I'd started to deliver a couple of workshops. Before we went into lockdown, I delivered 3 workshops here in a local hotel to 3 full rooms. One of the workshops actually sold out in 28 minutes.
Wow.
So as I was standing there watching everyone, it was a full day, so I was standing watching everybody coming in, getting their coffee and sitting down. I'm thinking, this is the 3rd workshop I've sold out. There must be something in this LinkedIn thing. I think I'll keep this going. And then lockdown came along, and no one wanted to sit on Zoom for 8 hours. So I broke the 8 hours into 4 90-minute, 2-hour-long online workshops. And actually next Tuesday, I will be delivering my 80th online workshop in 14 months.
Amazing. Wow.
So it's been a kind of busy time doing LinkedIn training. For someone who's not a LinkedIn trainer, it's not the only thing I do.
Yes.
So in answer to the question, I would say that LinkedIn is the best platform for B2B lead generation in the world right now, by a mile. So if you have a B2B business, a business to business, or a high net worth B2C business, then you should be using LinkedIn to market your business to your potential customers. And because if you're not, I'll bet that your more successful competitors certainly are. LinkedIn is a virtual Rolodex of over 720 million potential customers. There's 8 million users in South Africa. There's 29 million in the UK, 170 million in North America, another 140 million in Europe. So that itself tells you that it's a vast place. Every single person on LinkedIn is available to be connected today. We can actually start a conversation with someone on LinkedIn right now, ask for a meeting, set up a Zoom call or a phone call or whatever, find out whether what we offer is something they need, and then take that conversation to the next step. And we can do all of that today on LinkedIn. There's no other marketing platform or that I know of, certainly none that has such a highly effective, predictable ROE, return on effort. I don't do ROI, I do ROE, return on effort, out there at the moment. In October 2019, I only had 454 connections on LinkedIn, and many of whom weren't ready to outsource their training to me or anybody else. So I developed my own growth strategy and I applied that to LinkedIn. And I've actually grown my training business. So that's worked out this morning for you. I actually worked out that in the last 14 months, my training and development business has actually grown by 325%.
Sure.
Just using LinkedIn.
That's amazing. I think, yeah, there's a little bit of a perception though, and with my interaction now with the rest of the world, it might just be the country specific that one represents, but there's still a big perception for businesses that LinkedIn is a kind of recruitment platform. So, you know, often you'll engage with clients and talk about LinkedIn, and then they're like, well, I don't think LinkedIn's the place for us because that's more of recruitment. But I mean, obviously that's changed, but again, you are recruiting customers. So it's also not a bad thing to be on LinkedIn. But I think from my experience so far, I think LinkedIn is much bigger in the world than it is currently in South Africa. I think South Africans are still warming up to the idea, getting used to it. But absolutely, the opportunities are amazing. And having said what you said, obviously I've been on your training and also using and abusing my LinkedIn to get the best out of it, because it's there and it's available and it's free, you know. So just, you obviously, I mean, there's no brainer, but do you recommend every business should be on LinkedIn?
Short answer, if you have a B2B business, then yes. But let's talk about what you just said there. Yeah, it is a resume site. It is, when I joined LinkedIn, I simply put my CV on there.
Yes.
And a really awful photograph from my driver's license. And it is still seen as a job site. So it's still seen to that by a huge percentage of population, which is actually great news, because that means for people like you and I, there's less competition for the eyeballs of those 720 million people. So long as we keep
Good
it,
point.
95% of people who are on LinkedIn are not using it properly. All right, so there's 80% who just go on, put their CV on there, they read some posts, they don't do any engagement. And then there's a 15% who are the spam merchants, the people who will immediately send you a message, buy my stuff, buy my stuff.
Yeah.
Now, my job is to help as many people as I know get into that 5% without telling the rest. So please keep it quiet, all right? Because we want to make sure that we're capturing the market before everyone else floods in, all right? So from a business point of view, B2B, high net worth B2C business, yes, you should be using LinkedIn. But remember, we need to make sure we're set up to make the most of the time we spend on LinkedIn. The starting point, like I'm sure you have these conversations with your clients as well. The starting point is, who's your target audience? Who will your target audience be? Then you adapt and change your LinkedIn profile to attract that audience. Get it set up for lead generation, fully optimized and search friendly, because LinkedIn is just a huge search engine. People will search in there for LinkedIn consultant. They do, because I know, because people contact me now. The next step is to develop or create a process that you can use every single time that you go into LinkedIn, a step-by-step system that means you're not wasting time when you're on there. You're being very effective. Now, what surprised a lot of people, I only spend 20 to 30 minutes a day on LinkedIn.
Sure.
That's a huge surprise to people.
Yeah.
But I'm ruthlessly efficient with my time when I'm on there. There's no time wasted whatsoever. I'm on, and then I get off and I go do other thing. I go do the day job. Once you've done that, you then need to think about what's the series of direct messages are you going to send to a new client or an existing connection.
Yes.
On LinkedIn. It's not spammy. It's not buy my stuff, buy my stuff. It's very nice and subtle. Takes you from, hi, Megan, thanks for connecting, all the way through to, Megan, I think I might be able to help you get some more clients. Why don't we jump on a Zoom call? A nice process for that. And once you've done all that, then maybe figure out what a good post looks like. What things you should put in your post, when to post, how often do you post, and of course, more importantly, what to avoid posting. Because sometimes you can actually kill your business by posting the wrong type of thing. You know, so you've got to be very, very careful. Yeah.
So obviously, by the sounds of things, you know, we speak a lot about Facebook, email marketing, but LinkedIn itself is a powerful marketing tool. I mean, if you can position yourself, like you say, you've identified who your target audience is, you can specifically connect with those people, you know, without having to spend the money to say. But I mean, it's essentially a powerful marketing tool on its own, if that was your strategy.
LinkedIn, as far as I know, is the only platform where you get to decide who joins your gang. On Facebook, people can follow you without you approving them, but on LinkedIn, I have to approve you as a connection. You have to send me an invitation and I have to say yes. So I can control who's actually in my connections list, who's in my network on LinkedIn. That itself is priceless.
Yeah.
Then I've got all these direct messages I can send. I've got the ability to send you a direct message. Everybody in my connection, I can send them all direct messages. There's no other platform allows you to do that. And then I can get to post, and then I can connect. I can search for people very, very simply. So if your target audience, for example, would say business consultants, I can find you 250,000 business consultants in about 2 minutes. I did that for a private client yesterday who, once I've spoken to her for about 15, 20 minutes, probably the first session I ever spend with somebody on a one-to-one is usually trying to find out who their target audience is. Eventually, we came up with the idea that she's a VA, a personal assistant business, and she wanted to deal with creative people who weren't very organized. And I said, well, what about artists? She thought, I don't know many artists. So I very quickly jumped onto LinkedIn and found 255,000. And it took me less than a minute. And there's a target audience right there. Go start talking to them.
Yeah, and I learned the other day that you can download your connections.
Yes, you can. And they come out in order of when you connected with them. So if you connected them in 2010, those will be at the top of the list, and the most recent ones will be at the bottom of the list. So my advice to everybody is download your connection and then go down the list and make sure your direct messages, as many of them as you possibly can. Do 5 or 10 direct messages a day to people you haven't spoken to for a year, 2 years.
Yeah. So that was my LinkedIn aha moment. Super stoked. I thought it was still going to trick me and say, you don't have the right package to do this. And rightfully, there I was, downloaded it. So I think, as with anything else with LinkedIn, as long as you know, because I think that's so critical, the SEO. So as long as you know who it is you're targeting, so to understand who to connect with, because obviously you have the ability to also go and find people to connect with, which you should. Don't expect people just to find you. Having a clear message on your page, so when people arrive on your page, they immediately understand what it is that you do. And I think really how you package yourself is probably the most important thing. Being on LinkedIn, I think, is one thing, but I mean, getting it right, like you say, and actually understanding who's your audience, what you're offering, how do you want to be perceived. If someone lands on your page, are they going to like what your Facebook or what your photo looks like? Are they going to like what they read? Do they feel that you are professional? So I think those are all, as you've mentioned, the things that make it a good marketing channel. But obviously without those things, it's just another lost lead, as we'd say. So just moving on to the last question, and we could have spoken about so many things. Now I'm sitting here thinking about all these things about LinkedIn, but hence you have the course you do, and there's so much opportunity with LinkedIn. But how can one really use LinkedIn to grow their business? What's just a few tips for us today, besides the things we've spoken about, and just getting your kind of profile right, so your message is right and your audience is right, and being a bit more strategic about it.
Well, I suppose, as I said earlier, LinkedIn is the place to be if you're in the B2B world. I actually use the platform itself every single day. So that's the first thing, is be consistent, be on every single day. That teaches the algorithm who you are and what you want from the platform. Have a consistent step-by-step process that you follow every single time you go onto the platform. Now, that just happens to be the workshop on Tuesday. So if you're available, book yourself onto that one. And once you've done those two things, I would maybe take a little bit of a week or a 2 week break and just see what happens and get those habits, those good habits in play before I take the next step, which is right now I'm going to go out and start reaching out to people directly. But getting a process and getting your profile is the first steps. As you rightly say, the last thing you want to do is spend an awful lot of time doing marketing and getting people to come to look at your LinkedIn profile they take one look at it, they go, don't think so, and click off. You want to be attractive to your audience. You want to have a sense of professionalism, of approachability, but above all, authority. You should be the expert in your field. If you're the only person that does what you do, fantastic. You've got a monopoly. But if you've got any competitors whatsoever, you want the person who comes to your profile to go nowhere else, to stick with you and talk to you. That's what you want. Now, I've got some bad news with regards to how to grow a business on LinkedIn. It's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. All right. Time. Yeah. So I work with startup businesses as well as establishes. Businesses have been established for many, many years. They all needed help to grow their business. And the first thing I say is, let's go check out LinkedIn. Let's go search LinkedIn, see where you are with that. But LinkedIn changes its algorithm on a regular basis. So it's important to actually keep on top of those changes. I believe Friday morning is when the development team get together and decide what algorithms to or what to change within the algorithm, or what changes to make to the packages, etc. So very, very quickly you can find yourself out of date on information. And that's one of the biggest bugbears I've got with people who, I'm going to use the quotation mark, people who call themselves LinkedIn gurus. I have a bugbear with most of them because some of the things that they're teaching went out of date 2 years ago. And they're still spending it. Yeah, people are going along and being misguided. I'm not going to say they're being lied to. They've been misguided in some of the things they've been told to do. And because algorithm changes on a regular basis, so if you want to be good at LinkedIn, if you want to have success in LinkedIn, you have to study LinkedIn.
You have to be close to it.
But if you're already doing those 50, 60, 70 hours a week, and you just don't have time to do that, you need to go and find somebody like me who already does it and ask them to share that knowledge with you. Right? So it's one of those. So I deliver. Sorry.
Yeah. No, go on.
I was going to say, everything I do, whether it's sales, leadership development, or LinkedIn, is what is called success-based training. I only put into my training workshops, my coaching sessions, things that actually work. So when things change, as they do, then what I do in my own business changes almost immediately. So of course, then what I teach about LinkedIn is adapted to reflect those changes as well. So as you know, one of my favorite sayings is, don't just be on LinkedIn, use LinkedIn, but you have to know about LinkedIn. So it's continual updating of information.
Yeah, and I think it also it also it isn't a place to assume success overnight, you know. So when I started and connecting with people, I also got a whole lot of people trying to connect with me, and I was quite specific about who I connected with. In some cases, all they were looking for is a date. You could just see by, you know, the first time I would kind of connect and the first message was, "How beautiful." And I'm like, what's going on here? So I think it's also very key for people to be patient with LinkedIn and don't assume, you know, because you've only got 300 connections, it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, you know. Rather grow your profile and your prospects well than just getting every Tom, Dick, and Harry on there.
Quality over quantity.
Absolutely, yeah.
So when you get that connection invitation or an invitation to connect with somebody, look at their profile. My criteria is very simple. Are you a potential client?
Agreed. Yeah.
If the answer is no, I'm not accepting you. I don't need the numbers. As I said, I started off at 454. I've now got over 7,000 connections. The good news is those 7,000 connections are all potential clients. Maybe not now, maybe 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years from now, but they are all potential clients.
Right.
You don't need 7,000 to grow a business, because I was getting 5 and 6 sales appointments a week when it only had 500-600 connections.
No, agreed. Sure. Okay. Well, Jim, as I said, we could go on and on, because there's so much to talk about, and I think so many people probably have more questions. So please, if anyone has any specific questions, you're more than welcome to ask. Put them in the comments, and we'll definitely get back to you. But yeah, I think let's end it there, Jim. Thank you so much again for taking out your time all the way from Scotland. And I'm glad to hear it's warming up and your pubs will be opening next week officially. So good luck with the booking.
Thank you.
And yeah, and then joining us next week Friday at 12 o'clock, same time, same place, is Marika Groot from Mary and Me, talking about social media to get noticed. So please, if you did enjoy the interview, and I'm sure you did, you had lots to learn and could learn more, please share our page, share the post, and go and like Jim's page as well. He is on LinkedIn, and connect with him. I'm sure you could learn some great stuff. So thanks again, Jim, and I will see you soon.
See you soon. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye. You're very well trained at this.